Love is in the air.
Hello, I'm Ryan Donato.
Hello. Welcome back to another Hard Review. I am here, of course, to talk about A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. This is the new movie by Kogo Nada. This is a director. I haven't seen any of his stuff before. I haven't seen Columbus, and I have not seen After Yang. I get a very similar vibe from this movie that I get from The Materialists. Like, we have more of an indie-type director that's taking a very basic romance story with a couple major movie stars and then trying to sell it to mainstream audiences. Margot Robbie and Colin Farrell are two of the best names on the market, especially when you think about when this movie started going into production 2 years ago, back in 2023. Margot Robbie and Colin Farrell were at the front of everyone's minds during awards season because Colin Farrell had Banshees of Inisherin, which is one of my personal favorites, and Margot Robbie obviously had Barbie, which is everyone's personal favorite. I kind of went into this movie not knowing too much about the plot. I understood that it was a romance between these two. I understand it had something to do with their memories and their apprehension to get into a relationship. It's funny because going into this movie, I was watching the Before trilogy for the third time in 3 months. So I was very much so game for this type of movie because the movie we get here is a very slow, nothing really happens. Like, we're going into this car that has this magical GPS and it brings these two together, and then they kind of go on a journey and they explore each other's memories, and that tells them a lot about each other. Obviously, they learn a lot about themselves. They get a lot of closure from things that they didn't get to experience in their lives. And it's a very sweet movie, so I was very much so game for nothing happening. And it's just a very airy, ethereal movie. Like, you're there for the vibes, you're there to hang out, and you're there to fall in love with these two and watch them fall in love with each other and just be charmed by their personalities. And both of them are extremely charming people. If you like both of these people, you're going to like this movie, and you like romance films as well. I could definitely see people being turned off by this film for feeling that it's not enough going on, or that it doesn't have too much to say, or it's too messy and too long. Like, I felt like it was really short, but I did kind of find myself being like tired during it. But I think that was less of me having a problem with the pacing of the movie and just more the type of movie that it is, because it is one that is just like, we're gonna chill out, we're gonna sit there, we're gonna take a deep breath, and we're just gonna hang out with these people. The conceit of the movie was very unexplained, and I kind of had a hard time following exactly what magic was going on, but to a certain extent I just kind of let myself go from trying to understand what's happening with the doors and the memories. Like, I get it, they come across a door, it's a door from their life, and it leads them to a time in their memory when they look like themselves, but to everyone else they look like they did when they were the age at that point in time. Which is another fun thing about the movie, seeing them go through different doors, try to find out how old they were and where they were at in life when this happened. Kind of felt like a romantic Monsters Inc. with us going into all these doors that lead us to different places. I was very charmed. I found myself in the camp where I thought that this was extremely sweet. They're both very likable and attractive, and I liked them together in a way. So I really subscribed to this movie. I think I like The Materialists a little bit more than this movie, but this is still very good. This is more of the indie art house version compared to Materialist, which I do think does a better job at selling itself to the mainstream. And I feel like that's something it has to do because that movie stars Dakota Johnson, who's definitely not in the same level of stardom as a Margot Robbie. And then Colin Farrell, I feel like, is a little bit more respected and has a little bit longer of a filmography than guys like Pedro Pascal and Chris Evans. I guess Chris Evans has been around about as long as Colin Farrell has, but I feel like Pedro Pascal really has hit his stride here in the last like 5 to 10 years, whereas Colin Farrell's been doing it the entire century so far. This definitely makes me want to check out the rest of the films from Kogo Nada. I'm going to be generous. I'm going to go with a 4 out of 5 here. I had a really good time. I thought it was really sweet. I saw it on a date, so I kind of fit the vibe that the movie was trying to set for everybody. The girl that I went and saw with, my girlfriend, obviously, it hit her really personally. So for some people, some of this topics that are touched on in this movie might hit a little bit close to home. That's good. That's like effective. That was not good for me because she was sad the whole night because it reminded her of certain things with her family and whatnot. But for me, I was like, oh, so the movie is, connecting with people. It is touching people in an effective way that's making them feel the emotions they want them to feel. By the end of the night, it was fine. I was there for her. And so overall, I thought it was a pretty cathartic experience, but it is one that if you allow yourself to be given up to this movie, then there's plenty for you to get out of it. But if you watch this movie and you're just like, what's happening? Nothing's going on. What's happening? I don't get this. It's kind of weird. Then you're probably not going to enjoy this movie. Thank you guys very much for watching this review. Like, comment, subscribe, and why don't you guys tell me what your favorite romance film is starring either Margot Robbie or Colin Farrell. I think the one that sticks out to me, I know she has a very small role in the film, but Margot Robbie and About Time. I think About Time is a movie that I really wanted to catch when it came out and then didn't for like a decade after. And once I finally found myself getting to it, I thought it was one of the sweetest movies I've ever seen. Also, if you haven't seen the Before trilogy, go watch it right now, please.